All right, we're live. Hey everybody, welcome to another Monday. Sorry that it's Monday. So today we're going to be drawing Miles Morales, which I'm pretty excited about. I've actually never drawn him. So for my thumbnail for this, I don't know if any of you saw it, but it was actually another artist. It was a great picture. I actually don't know who drew it, which is terrible, but I wanted to actually put up a picture of the character that I'm drawing instead of just some random picture because it was, you know, I've never drawn him. So this will be new for me. Unfortunately, I am on my own tonight, so this is going to be a little different. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. I'll try and make the best of it. Meredith, she couldn't be here. She's got stuff going on with her parents right now, so you know, she's fine, but yeah, this is going to be a little tougher to keep up with the chat, so I will do my best. Apologies, guys. Hi, Art Jedi, Charles Petrie, Eric Groves here, our moderator. It's great to have you, Eric. Kenny Wang, hi. Something sketchy. Michael Edmund, what did he do to Meredith? She's still alive. Yeah, no Meredith today. I'm sorry, guys. It's just me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let's see. As always, I did a little sketch beside my picture just to give me a sense of where to go. So I think for this live stream, I'm going to have to... Hi, Rosalind, Matthias, Thick Nick, Jordan Clark. Hey, Dude Powers here. I'm going to be talking probably about my art actually a little bit more than I do sometimes. You know, I'm going to move them over just a little bit because I won't have Meredith feeding me questions. I really should have thought of a backup plan for this. Does this mean, Daniel Castelli, thank you so much for the super chat. Asks, does this mean we can stay up late? Yeah, maybe. I won't have Meredith falling asleep this time. And when I'm left on my own device, this thing can kind of go off the rails. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm just getting his hand in here. Let's see. Trent Massey with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Dave, thank you so much for accepting my Miles Morales request. By the way, I'm 12, destroying my allowance for totally worth it. Well, thank you very much, Trenton. I appreciate it. Don't go crazy, though. Greg L. Miles. Hey, David. Hey, Miles. Or, hey, Greg. See, look at this. Without Meredith, the wheels are truly off. Every week she says, the wheels are coming off. Well, this could be it. I need to move my microphone a little bit. All right. The good news is, if nothing else, I have a really good book of the week this week, which I'm pretty pumped about. So that's all right. Look at this. I'm already drawing regular Spider-Man. I don't actually have my reference up yet, so in just a minute, I'll fix his costume. El Padrino says you should play some Megadeth in the background. You know what? If I could get away with it. Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much, Mike. Greg, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it. And yes, Meredith's out right now. She'll be back next time. We just had something come up. Normally, I mean, we're pretty good at, and Monday's a really good night for us. It's never really a problem generally, but this time life got in the way. I guess it happens. I was thinking, you know what, maybe I could just reschedule, but I had already put it up and I know you guys are waiting, and I thought, you know what, I'll soldier through. Since Meredith isn't here, this is BW with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Since Meredith isn't here, can we ask the naughty questions PS5 or Xbox X for your next generation? You know what? It's gonna be a PS5, I think. Right now, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm playing pretty much all the time. I've got both. I've got the Xbox, whatever, regular, and the PS4. I always play the PlayStation right now, and that's more just circumstance than anything. You know what? I'm already. Hold on. All right. Dominic Glover says, "Can you talk about your time teaching Jason Fabok?" And yeah, I can. And thank you for the super chat, Dominic. I appreciate it. Jason emailed me some of his work. He's local, and I thought the work he was doing was incredible already. Like it was not ready, but you could see that there was talent there. Absolutely. Like I had no trouble seeing that he was talented, but I will say I've seen it a lot of times where I see somebody and I think they have a lot of talent, and they have talent, but then getting somebody to actually cooperate and do the things that you need to do to really develop it can be more of a challenge than you would think. And I never know until somebody starts, and if they're willing to go through the steps you have to go through, then it's great, and it works, pretty well. I would say I've had a very good success rate. And if they're not, you find out pretty quickly, unfortunately. And yeah, Jason, I mean, he's a great guy. He's very, very dedicated, and very smart. And he's working with Jeff Johns now, which I'm always jealous about, but he's my bud, so I can't be too jealous. Let's see. Neil Durkin with a $4.99. I'm sorry, Neil. Neil Durkin says, "Hey David, are you guys going to do another portfolio review with Robert Marzullo soon? Didn't make the last one. Yes, we will do it again. That's coming up again fairly soon. I've got my mouse way behind me here. We will do that again. So don't worry. If you missed it, it will be back. Absolutely. It's fun to do, and I feel like it's a good service. Like I think it's a good thing to do. So let's see. ODM. Oh, now see, I'm going through what Meredith goes through. ODM Photography with a $5 super chat. Excited for tonight. Thanks for the Gumroad pencils. Inking my last page tonight. Oh, well, that's great. You know what? Please send them. I'd love to see them. I saw your last sample that you had sent, and I thought, it looked great. And I had a few little things that I, nitpicked about, and I'm really curious to see how some of the new stuff is looking. So I'm excited about it. Let's see. Shoot. Uh-oh. SES Powerlifting with a $5 super chat says, "Raw and Draw hope was all is good with the in-laws." Yeah, they're good. They're good. They're just they're having some trouble with their house. Her dad just finished the workshop in the basement, and he was having some trouble. And honestly, between the two of us, Meredith is, the one that's actually able to help with that. So she's over there, and it was a bit of a had to be done right now situation. Is a plumbing issue. Bruno Nucci with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Any chance we see Witchblade on the live anytime soon? Yeah, actually, I think that'd be a great idea. You know what? I might have to reserve that for a night when we don't have Meredith, if that happens again, just because all the tech all over, that's time consuming. So it might end up being a bit of a late night. Okay, let me actually look at his costume here before I just completely start drawing Spider-Man. Let's see. And for reference, I've actually got the picture that I used as my thumbnail. So to give you an idea of what I'm looking at. Let's see, something like that. Artsy Designs says, "Hey David, did you get a chance to post magic yet?" Oh no, I haven't. And not just that, not only have I not done that, but I also have a video that, this is much lower. I have a video that I finished last week I just had to put a little bit of it together, just a tiny little bit, and I still don't have that posted. I wanted to have that posted by Wednesday, and it's going to be tomorrow at this point, so apologies for that. Dominic Glover says, can you talk about different revenue streams as an artist? Comic-Cons, client projects, print sales, online classes? Sure, Dominic. Look, this is all very new for me, so I will tell you, YouTube, not a business model. Not at all. At least for me. Like, I think you would have to be getting millions of views to really make it something that's, a thing unto itself. But I feel like that's not really the point. The point is that it's the best, most immediate way to connect with all you guys. And, I think that's important. We used to, back in the day, we used to have Wizard Magazine and, the top 10 list and that kind of thing. And without that there now, it's a little bit tougher. So, I really didn't want to just completely lose touch. And then with conventions going, it really made me start to think, okay, I need to, let me make this just a little bigger here. I should have started with this symbol first. This is why I go so loose. Because this is a much bigger headache with finished pencils or with ink especially. Okay, so that's gonna come down here. It's a little bit lower. Just like that. There we go. All right. Then his webbing goes like this. All right, hold on here. Oh, right, and other streams. Honestly, I make my money just from drawing for Marvel and DC and the Create Your Own project that I'm doing right now. That's it'd be great if some of the other okay, in conventions, which we're not doing right now, but yeah, this isn't really. I'm not looking at this as like a revenue generator, really. Truthfully, I'm sure it could be, certainly, but that's not where it's at for me. Not that I'm against it. That's not what I mean. I just mean, yeah, the money I get paid for is the work that I do. And today I was drawing a Marvel cover, which I think is finally coming out actually pretty well. I'm pretty happy. I wish I could show you guys. Part of me was thinking, I wonder if I could just get away with, maybe nobody from Marvel is watching and I could just finish my cover here because I'm so behind. I've got that cover that I've got to do. And then I've got another cover. Actually, this one, the other one's for DC. And that one is, the one I'm working on right now is late. That one is also late. So I've got a few things and I've got to get that YouTube video out. And I'll tell you what has been causing all this is I'm working on a website, and this is why, I wanted to have a time lapse up this week, and I wanted to do a few different things, but the website has just been taking over my life. I'm putting so much work into trying to figure it out, and you run into trouble, and next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I haven't gotten anything done, and it's been an adventure. So, but I think I'm just about ready with it, pretty close. So, and yeah, once that's done, I'll just be able to post to it and it won't take up my whole life. Daniel Castelli asks, when drawing the torso in 3/4, do you include the lats in the shape, or do you add that shape on top? I'll show you how I would do it, Daniel. So here's my torso in 3/4. You know what? And I guess I'll give it no arms so you can really see that, or I'll just raise the arm. So I draw it like a vest shape. It's just a vest shape. So I draw everything on top of just a very, very simple shape. And so my chest attaches through to the shoulder here. My other arm is going to go here. And then I draw this area like a plate. Now, this isn't anatomically correct whatsoever, but that's not the point. This is how we do it in comics. So it's kind of this sort of a shape here, and then the stomach cuts in. And that was actually a real challenge for me, learning how to draw anatomy, trying to figure out how to reconcile real anatomy with the kind of art anatomy I was seeing from artists. And I went like a full on, I'm going to do totally realistic anatomy. You know, I don't want to do any kind of cheats. So this is going to be the back of my shoulder. There's my arm, and then my lat is going to connect up into there, just like this. And then actually we did a portfolio review on, I think it was Thursday, and somebody said to do the stratus. I'm really trying to learn the muscle names. I realize that as I'm teaching this stuff, I sound like a moron not knowing any of the names. This is why I wish Robert Mosula was here. But he said just do a zigzag. So I've actually been kind of experimenting with it. Totally working. I love it. Look at this. So I just started with a zigzag anyway, and they followed this kind of a pattern here. And then your stomach connects underneath into the obliques. And so this would be the shape of my lat right there. So that's how I put it together. I hope that that was clear. All right. Henry says, Dave, I know that you said that your Spider-Man artist is Mark Bagley. My Spider-Man artist was Ross Andrew. We're just from different eras. That's all. I like Bagley as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes. You know, it's like musical taste and so many other things. You like what you liked when you kind of got into it, you know? You like what you liked when you were 12. That's the saying. So I don't know if you were 12, Henry, but... All right. All right, I'm going for it. Time to ink. I'm just going to put his webs in with ink. We'll see how that works. Get his eye in. Whoop. I'm getting pretty sketchy. I don't know how much that shows up. I think I'm pulled out pretty far, but it's pretty sketchy. And actually my whiteout ran out, so I fought with it for like 2 days until I finally realized, oh, it's just out. So I finally just replaced it, and now I've got whiteout again. So next time that happens, the problem is, you know, it's not a clear. The old ones I used were clear. I could see when they were out. All right. Matt Hatton, excuse me, Matt Hatton with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, longtime fan, been looking back at your stuff. I haven't seen it in a long time. Mind blown. Your humility speaks volumes. You're the man, and these live streams and tutorials are so awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Really. Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time now. You know, it's easy to forget. Like, when I was on Avengers, just seems like a couple years ago, and it's already 16 years, 15 years, depending. Like, I started 16 years ago. I finished 15, not quite. It's a long time. Kenny Wang says, Dave, how do you ink curves? It's really hard for me. Okay, well, I've got curve templates that can help. I had somewhere, I've got this big long, it's like a blue kind of a bendy sort of a ruler that you can just put down and ink a curve. Generally speaking though, I just fake it, to be honest. And if I have to do like a really curved kind of a shot for a background, I would tell you right now, I do it in SketchUp. So if you're not familiar, SketchUp is a 3D modeling program. It's really simple. So you don't need to be able to 3D model to use it. And there are a million, they've got something called the 3D warehouse, and you can find cars, all kinds of stuff, really simplified versions, but it's good to use for, you know, certain sorts of things. And I just find like a really large round room, trying to do that in perspective. I have done it before freehand, and it's not like it's impossible, but it is so difficult. And if it's off, which it always is going to be a bit. It never looks as good. So yeah, I sketch out just the round shape just in a 3D grid, and then I just trace that out. And so at least I know that my lines are lined up properly. Like I still draw everything in myself and I get it all established myself, but at least it gives me basically what I do whenever I do any perspective is I draw a grid. So that helps give me my grid. Our Jedi says, hey Dave, I'm drawing a really cool Batman piece for a portfolio review. Can't wait to show it to you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. It'd be great to see it. Thank you. Greg L says, love how you did the legs. Tough pose for both. Yeah, thank you, Craig. Yeah. Yeah, Spider-Man, you know, or Miles Morales Spider-Man, I mean, they're both the same that way. They can be a bit of a challenge if you haven't done that before. When I got to Marvel, that's something I really had to learn, which is what made me such a big fan of Mark Bagley. He does that outrageously well. I'm going to be, because the web comes out here, I'm going to definitely be using some whiteout for this. I've already, and actually I was planning what I'm going to do for his webbing is just fill it in with black and then use whiteout for my lines. I think it's the easiest way. Alec O'Bear with a $5 super chat says, thanks for the feedback on my pages. They've come a long way thanks to it. I posted loose pencil fixes on the Discord. Oh, and I'm starting your Skillshare. Well, thank you very much, Alec. And I actually, I'm going to be going to the Discord. I've actually got somebody else had some artwork I wanted to take a look at up there also. So I will make sure to look you up on there and not miss your art that you posted. Dude Power says, hey Dave, been reading Avengers Disassembled, really loved your art there. Thank you, dude. It was a different kind of a style that I was doing at the time. It was very unrendered, just a tiny little bit of rendering. And yeah, I put so many little lines and things now. And I've actually thought at times, you know, maybe like it'd be good to just kind of pull back and maybe try and do something like that again. Every time I try, next thing you know, I kind of lose it. And then there are a million, actually, the picture I'm working on right now, I can't say what's on it, but yeah, that totally happened. I had just blocked in some of the shadows and I thought, looks really good, just kind of open. I'm going to leave it. I didn't. So I need more discipline. And I think that happened when I was at Marvel. I was struggling with inks. I find when you work with an inker, you really have to work with your inker strengths, and the rendering, we weren't meshing, so I really pulled back, and then I thought we worked together very well. Michael Johnson Curry with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. You mentioned you didn't think anyone would like to hear just your voice for your career pass video. Please post it. I'd love to hear your advice. I'm going to say, first of all, thank you, Michael. The reason I don't do that, and by the way, that leads me to another thing. The reason I don't do that is I am so uncomfortable sitting and trying to talk in front of the camera that I can't finish a whole sentence. It's funny, like if I'm just talking to you guys, I feel like I'm talking to you, which I am, and it's easy, but doing something where, okay, I'm going to plan what I'm going to say and then I'm thinking, I can't do it. I've tried. As a matter of fact, and this is where I say, okay, so I did 2 videos actually last week, and this is part of the reason why there's no video right now. I did one on like a roadmap. I was talking about this last week for, you know, how to approach your learning, you know, where to start, where to go from there, and kind of a path to take. And I thought that's a great idea for a video, and it's great. The problem is that I could not sit in front of the camera and do it. I tried. It was a disaster, and I watched a little bit of it and I gave up. So it's actually going to be on the website as a blog post. I think for that kind of stuff, I'm better. And so Michael, when you say a career path video, I think I'm better for a blog post for that. We'll see, you know, maybe I'll get more comfortable as I go. I really thought I'd be more comfortable by now, but we'll see. And Noxfis has a $50 super chat. Thank you very, very much. It's SEK. I don't know what that is. And he says, hey, David, are you familiar with Kentaro Miura's Berserk manga? If so, what do you think about the art in it? I think that I am. I'm so much better at looking at something than knowing the names. I'm pretty sure that I am, and if it's what I'm thinking of, then yes, and I think it's great. So apologies that I can't remember the name, but thank you very much for the super chat. And Greg L has a $5 super chat where he says, "So upset I missed a review because of work. I'm actually currently drawing Miles Morales for a friend and wanted your critique." Oh, you know what? We will be doing the critique stream very soon again, and then I will say also I'm going to be on Discord this week reviewing artwork, so if you want to post it on Discord, I will make sure not to miss it. And I know I keep saying I'm going to be on it. I have been so busy, you know, which is a good thing, right? It is good. But One Mighty R has a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Mighty. Please break down your comic cover process. Okay, I'm going to get this thing here on his arm done. Really, or at his chest. It comes about here. This is getting worse. If this one really doesn't work out well, we're blaming Meredith. Okay. So for a cover, I start with layouts. I draw a bunch of them, you know, and I just make them really, really loose. Like, for instance, actually, let me show you the layout. You know, I can't move it. Here, hang on. I will find some layouts. Okay. So you'll have to ignore all the ridiculous stuff on here. I got stuck on the phone for a while, and that's what happens. But this right here is a layout for a Marvel cover that I did. You know what? I can't see it, so let me come over here and zoom in. You know what? I think it shows. Okay. So yeah, this is a layout for a Marvel cover. I sketch everything in really loosely with pencil. I never bother going past that point until I actually kind of like it well enough that I feel like I'm going to turn it in, and then I just quickly ink it so I don't have to erase all the pencils, and I can just have something to throw in there. And I'll do a couple of versions of this. There was another layout of the same cover that I did on another piece of paper. Actually, I'll show you. Here's a version right here that I didn't use. Actually, this is that version, but I wasn't quite happy with it, and I kind of messed with it a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I start. And then from there, I do exactly what I'm doing here, and that is just take my layout as a guide and just sketch on the page, you know, and let me zoom back out so we can see the picture. And then I do really what I'm doing now. I mean, it's the same process. It's just much more thought out. Like I can't really spend too much time thinking with these. Now, it's funny. I find they turn out maybe some better sometimes because of that. But then it's like a high wire act. Sometimes they really work and sometimes they don't. And I've had a few, since we've been doing the live stream, I've had a few where I've been a little bit, you know, not totally 100% thrilled. But that's just, you know, it is what it is. Okay, hold on. Robot Fish Studio has a $5 super. It's Canadian money, which means that Robot Fish Studio is in Canada, a fellow Canadian. Hey Dave, can you give a shout out to my son Zane? His creativity has inspired me to return to art. I'm introducing him to your work right now. Hi Zane. Well, thank you very much for watching, and especially, yeah, thank you very much for encouraging your dad to, you know, get back into art with the work that you're doing. And I think that's really great. You know, it's such a. If I could play guitar, I would do that. I think it'd be very relaxing. I can't. I can draw, and it's just, you know, I couldn't imagine living without it. So I'm really glad you got back to it, and hopefully, Zane, you won't stop. All right. Alec Aubert has a $2 super chat. It says the speaking videos might be great over time lapse. You know, actually, you're a smart man, Alec. I'm going to really think about that. That might not be so bad if I'm just talking. I'm going to give it a try. I mean, I need to get over it, but just for now, I think I'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know. Luiz Beater says, can we hope for a Jin Sekai draw on Monday? Wow. I don't hate that idea at all. You know what? I always do comic stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm not going to say no. I'll say that. I think I'd actually really like to do that. That would be a lot of fun. It'd be totally different too. And, you know, I don't want to get to the point where, you know, I'm drawing kind of similar stuff all the time. So, I mean, there comes a point where I feel like, I come on here and I'm drawing a picture and, you know, I need to learn how to juggle or something. Poop Dealer says, Dave, my figure body parts don't seem connected. The arms, head, and shoulders don't feel like part of the body. Any tips for that? Yeah, you know, I would say that happens when you need to draw your torso first and then draw the limbs off of the torso. But you also really need to be aware, and well, okay, with the shoulder construction, you need to be aware that when you lift your arms or move your arms, it really changes the whole shape of your chest. And I would say George Bridgman's Guide to Life Drawing is a great resource for that. So I would look at that. And for hips, I actually, tomorrow, hopefully it will be tomorrow, but I have a video on how to draw women, basically how to draw women's torsos. And I spent a lot of time on the hips and really went in depth into how I construct my hips, really for men too. I mean, it works the same. The dimensions are a little bit different. And, you know, so maybe that will help you. Greg L says, next stream, can we get DC static? I can't say next, maybe, but yeah, I would love to do it. Actually, I think that'd be a lot of fun too. And the reason I say I can't say next is I know next I've got to do Hellboy because I had been promising I would do Hellboy. Faithless, $20 Canadian super chat. Thank you very much, Faithless. Says, hi Dave, I've been in an art block for several months now. How do you get yourself out of an art block and get motivated to get back into drawing? Oh man, I totally understand. You know, there are times I really don't feel motivated to draw. Oh, what is it?
It's a drawing for the fans. He supported the fans.
All right.
For the fans only.
Yeah, thanks. Who is it? Greg Huffley from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. There you go. Just for you guys. Now I totally forgot what I was saying. Hold on. Shoot, hold on. Oh, right, art block, yes. I'm going to tell you right now, the way that I get it out of art block is by I have no choice. I just have to draw. And, you know, when you do that, you find your way out of it. You'll enjoy it again, and it might take a couple of days. You might find it takes an hour, and you think, wow, like how did I lose so much time, you know? But the only way is to just do it. I always say that motivation is great, but you can't base a career or learning or really anything in your life on motivation. You have to base it on discipline. And so I would say that's really the answer. It's not like anything fancy. I wish I could say, oh, you know, this is like listen to music or whatever. I don't know that would hurt, but you just have to decide, is this something you really want? And if it is, it takes discipline. And also bear in mind, no matter what you do, whether it's drawing or anything in life, getting up to go to work every day, you know, that takes discipline. So it's worth it. You know, you're not going to avoid it. You might as well do it for something you love. I'd say sit down and draw. I don't care how much you hate it. You will thank yourself later. Matthew Freeman with a $50 super chat. Well, thank you very much. Hi, Meredith and David. I was in the portfolio review on Thursday, and you gave me some great advice about building anatomy. I've been working on that in Gesture and look forward to the next one. Well, thank you very much, Freeman. Sorry, Matthew Freeman. Yeah, and you had some great looking stuff. I thought it was really looking good, and I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you. And yeah, we will see you, on the next portfolio stream. I'm looking forward to seeing, how you're coming along. Okay, I'm gonna zoom down here. John Guerin says, Dave, you're the man. You should color in his costume accents red. It would add a lot of pop to your killer inks. Thanks for all you do, man. Well, thank you, John Guerin. And I think that's a great idea. I can't, because the black ink that I use is actually not waterproof. It would make a disaster. I would have to print it out or, or adjust my tools. I really should, I think it would be nice. You know what? I'm going to take your advice. I've got this thing right here, and I can just put regular ink into it. There is actually dried up regular ink in it now. And this is a better brush. It's a sable brush. And then everything's waterproof. So in the future, I will do that. And I've got all the pens to do it. So yeah, coming up. All right, I need a reference. I've got it on my computer here. So let's see. Okay. I can kind of see my sketch still. Miles Morales is going to be 50% whiteout. So I apologize. I'm going to fall behind on the chat a little bit just now, but I'm always slower when I'm having to look at something. So especially something like this, it has to kind of line up. Already kind of doesn't line up. And this is where, an actual cover or something can start to actually really take me longer, because I can't allow it to be off like that. So where I'm closer here than I am here, it's not terrible, but I would want to adjust that. So there's just a little bit more planning involved. But otherwise, it's the same process. Okay. Got this, and then it goes like that. Okay. I'm going to draw in his webbing, and then we'll go from there. All right. Keith Dotson says Dave needs to bring someone on stream to read super chats. Keith, I got yours. Well, I guess not super, but whatever. I got your chat. So, there you go. But yes, Meredith is, she's pretty reliable, that's for sure. So I had no plan B. So I think you guys will all be very relieved next week when she's back. And don't worry, she will be back. I know this looks like a mess right now, but trust me. Whiteout does wonders. Can I have my whiteout right? Don't have my whiteout. All right, so there's that one. Thank you, One Mighty R. Says Spidey's looking amazing so far. I appreciate it. All right, so in my head, I know I'm going to come around like this, and so I can kind of just visualize where I'm going to put the lines, and that way I can put some of these lines that overlap over without having to erase everything out, or I guess white out everything out. I still will have to, but not as much. So there, I'll have to white that out. But for the most part, And maybe I'm kind of getting in a groove. I think this one's turning out better than the other hand. I'm gonna wrap it over his arm this way too. So I hope those of you that are, back in school, are not hating it too much. We've definitely had a bit of a transition here. So we've got kids that have gotten used to just being up all hours of the night, and now they're actually back on a schedule. I love it, but yeah, it's been some wars in the house. Not so much fun. All right. Now I'm gonna start coming off like this. I'm totally trailing off and not talking. This is what happens when I start concentrating. This is why Meredith's so good. So I think for the next time this happens, because it probably will happen again, I'm gonna actually have to find a plan B, because it's very hard to do this on my own. Anthony G says, hey Dave, thanks again for the pointers on my Spidey tribute for my brother. It looks so much better with the changes you and Rob suggested. Can you kind of describe how to make how to make the torso and abs look contracted? Well, thank you very much. It was a beautiful picture. It was a great tribute for your brother. And I appreciate the super chat, and you coming by and participating in, I'm trailing off, I'm sorry, and participating in our critique too. So let me think. Contracting the abs. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let me make sure that I'm going to grab my other camera here. Okay. So for this one here, the abs basically go like this. Here's this, and they're relatively flat. Just like that. Okay, off you go. I love you, kid, but come on. Isaac, I'll show it the next time. Now I took a stand. I can't let you win. Take it. Take it. I'm not showing it.
You don't take in all your sodas.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm serious.
Isaac, off you go.
But I'm showing it anyway.
Go.
Fine.
Okay. And so to contract them, I'm going to bend them over. And let me make sure it's actually showing up. I'm going to move the camera a bit. So I'm going to shorten the distance. This would be my chest here. I'm going to shorten the distance between the chest and this overall plate that I put there, which is, again, not strictly anatomical, but this is just how how really every comic artist for the most part does it. I mean, you can pinpoint a North American comic artist by that piece right there. Okay, so this is much shorter. Also, I'm going to go tighter and shorter with this, maybe, and it would be maybe like a little bit more balled out, but honestly, that's not something that you want to over accentuate. So there you go. That would be it. It just contracts much more, and the bottom part here doesn't really, like, it still stays long because you bend here. So that's how I would go about it. BW says, so Meredith doubles as a bouncer. Yeah. Well, and with her not here also, he's running rampant. That was my youngest. Charlie Parks with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, thank you so much for viewing my art last week. I got a lot out of not wearing my Wolverine mask tonight, but loving your work as per usual. Will we ever get to see you draw Gambit? Yeah, you know, that's another one. I need to write down a list because that's a great one. Yeah, for anybody that didn't see the portfolio review stream, which you should watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to do. He came on with a Wolverine mask. It looked great, actually. Made a good Wolverine. It was fun. All right. Ross Klein has a $5 super chat. He says, hi, Meredith and Dave. Just Dave tonight, but you will be back. I just wanted to thank you for letting us into your home. What you're doing is an example for all of us. Well, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure. And yeah, I'll tell you what, you really do see, you know, this is definitely the house. Kids run in. We got the cat. Although without Meredith here, I doubt I'll see the cat tonight. Cat's much more attached to Meredith than to me. All right, I'm just gonna erase this down and start to put in some of our shadow. Greg L says, no, you missed my question. Oh no, I'm sorry, Greg. Just write it again if you don't mind, and I will answer. I'll try and look out for it. Lance says, what are your top 3 suggestions to study composition from? Okay, well, my top suggestion is How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And I know it seems like a very simple book, and it is, but that's part of why it's so good. They really just describe really good compositions really, really simply. And it's devoted to a couple of pages. You'll see a circular composition with a central element. You'll see a triangular composition, and that would be like a Conan cover, like a Frazetta kind of a, you know, you've got your figure, and then, you know, there's a woman like this. It's always how they do it traditionally. And then you've got, you know, skulls and that kind of thing on the ground. That's like a classic triangular composition. You'd have more of a box for a team of heroes, but you can still do that in a triangular way too. You've got your main hero, and then the other ones coming down the sides beside him. Another thing that really works is you've got 2 groups of figures, so you group one into a box, and then the other one is on their own. Anyway, they show that stuff really well. And there's a book. It's on the tip of my tongue to say Marcus Matteo Massi, and I'm sure that that's wrong, so I apologize. But there's a great book on composition that I unfortunately don't have. I would pull it out and show you guys. And it's a phenomenal book. I got a lot out of it. I need to buy it again. I lent it to, well, I gave it to my niece, actually. So I can't say I lent it to her, but yeah, I don't have it anymore. I needed to get it again. Any book like that that's really good, I always go through a bunch. And she's drawing a lot, and she's really talented. She's doing great. And so, you know, that's worth having to pick up a book again. She has my Loomis too. I was looking for my my Loomis. I can't remember the exact book, but I've got a few, and I realized I couldn't find. Anyway, I finally put together. That's what happened to it. I gave it to her. I just totally forgot. All right. So I'm letting him from here, and he's shiny. So I'm just overall not really going to the edges with my shadow. I don't want to give it like an even light everywhere. I always think of my, I think of this like a core shadow, and this is a light here. So it's going to cut in like this, and maybe, you know, come back out for that little muscle there. Cut in, and then back out here again. Get his rib cage defined in here. That should be dark through here. That would really cast a shadow into that spot. So let's darken that. And this is, I always end up building light this way. I draw one shape and then I realize, oh no, the shadow go a little bit further, and so I just extend it. And oh, Greg L says, how do you account for the neck in a pose like this? You know, that's another one that I've got to show you, and so let me do that. Okay. So you know that your neck attaches here. Let me zoom in. I want to just make sure I'm on the camera here. I can't see it, so okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right. So your neck starts here, and you've got, you know, these kind of muscles leading up to it. You've got your clavicle here, and let me do some erasing and give myself a little bit of room. Obviously, if your neck is longer, and like if it's straighter, then it's going to be much longer. It connects to the ear like this, and this muscle, these large muscles, connect to your ear, basically. So here's my nose and here's my mouth. And there's this muscle here. Obviously that's terrible, but you get the point. So this whole thing though is just it's a tube. So, you know, I would think of it as being like a tube. And if I foreshorten it, then the tube gets much, much shorter because it's foreshortened, you know. And so for this, my tube is going to be much shorter, and my head is going to attach on top of that tube. And you'll notice that my head doesn't, the center of my chest is here, and my head is actually over this way because the neck is coming out up this way. It's not coming straight up. Now, if I wanted it to, I could do that, but then the neck would be longer. And so I've got it connected to my ear. Here's an eye, nose, mouth, chin. And so you don't see much of the neck, but that's how I make sure that it connects. And so you can see with this one, this is the center here. This is my ear, and I'm connecting it, and I've got it projected forward. So I wanted the neck to be at basically this kind of an angle coming up this way. And since the head is pushed down, if I start the chin, actually I've got it a little lower even. If I start the chin here, then my ear is up here and it all kind of works. But it's all about just foreshortening that. There are head poses where you don't draw an ear at all, but or a neck at all. You just don't see it, but you still have to account for it. So, you know, the head's going to not just sit. Look, what you want to avoid is a pose where you've got your body. Here's a body from, you know, this kind of an angle, and there's where my neck projects out of, and then I'm going to draw my head like this, right where the neck is, and here's an arm, and here's an arm, and it's off because it's not projecting out. Whereas if I think of my neck being like this and projecting at the same angle as the rest of my body, then my head's going to be over here. There's my ear. That's how I do it. Hopefully that chicken scratch gets it across. Excuse me. All right. Back to the brush. Let me close this. Here, I'm going to zoom back out again. I'm going to cast a shadow from his head. I don't know why I came so far in with my shadow there, but like I had it lit deep into my shadow for whatever reason. I just fixed it. JGTV has a $1.99 super chat and asks what I'm using, what brush I'm using for inks, and thank you very much. Actually, all my tool descriptions are in the description of this video. You can just go into the description and everything's in there. But it's a, I want to say it's a Pentel. I don't even. It's all in Japanese, but I've got the description in the thing. Hey, it's Dr. Rock. $10.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Rock. Hey, Dave, I see your kids are as well behaved as mine. My little girl just accidentally slapped me in the face in bed, so I woke up for your stream. You're doing great without even without Meredith. Thank you, Dr. Rock. Thank you so much for coming by too. Yeah, they're good kids. I love them, but you know, discipline. I don't know. But you know what? At least she got you awake so you could watch the show. I appreciate it. Kenny Wang says, David Finch, how do you draw the anatomy of the underside of the arm? I want to draw Superman flying at you with his arms extended and exposing his underarm. You know, actually, I'm going to say the best artist that I know of to really get that right is Frank Frazetta. I would recommend looking at his work. He does that really, really well. Another artist I think that's phenomenal at drawing the inside of the arm, the underside, that kind of thing, in a way that really just worked for me is Brahm. And I would check out Brahm. Both painters, actually. But there you go. I mean, they're both very, very good at it. And they're both very good at using reference, but you know, it's really their own work. So they're not a slave to it at all, and I think it really shows. Liam MG says, Dave, have you ever seen Buscema's lost drawings or sketchbook drawings? I've seen some, and yeah, they're incredible. Actually, I worked for Ralph Macchio, who's an editor at Marvel for years and years. He retired a little while ago. He was there all the way back when Stan Lee was still the editor-in-chief. And, you know, I think he started, I want to say 1971 or something like that. Maybe, you know, maybe even the end of the 60s, long time. And he told me he was the editor on Conan, Savage Sword of Conan, and John Buscema was drawing that, and he was just doing just layouts, like sketches. So it was that kind of work, and they sent it to an inker, and the inker got it, and they never heard back. And Ralph, you know, telephoned him. This is before you could email, and it said, "Hey, what's going on?" And the guy said, "This stuff is so good, I can't, you know, I can't give it back. Like, I can't ink it, and I won't give it back." And anyway, you know, apparently he kept it. That's the story I heard. And this I heard directly from Ralph Macchio, which, I mean, it sounds crazy that somebody would do it, but I believe Ralph. You know, he's a believable guy. It's nuts. Henry Jeremick says, Dave, you have to revisit the streams and write down the cool suggestions. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really do. PBoni has a $20 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Hey, here's a hello from Brazil. I would love to know how you figure out those shadow patterns and also the balance between hard shadow and the highlights. Thank you and stay safe. My best regards. Well, the way that I do it is I know where my light is coming from, and that's central. You really have to, and I fought with it actually for a little while, because knowing where your light's coming from still doesn't get you all the way, because it's too much to remember, or it's too much to fake. So you really do need to rely on study of life and other artists. I mean, that's an important part of it. And so, you know, a lot of what I'm doing, I got, you know, like this little trick or that little trick just from different artists, and it all comes out when you work. So that's a big part of it. And then what really made a difference for me when I was starting, I couldn't draw shadow on things at all. And I was never really a big fan of Mike Mignola because it was very simple, and I liked all the, image kind of style at the time. That was really my thing. And I was looking at something that he had drawn, and his shadow shapes are so simple, and it's so clear where the light is, and it can be really easy to get lost kind of in the weeds, and not every artist is really consistent with their lighting. It's a very difficult thing to be that consistent, and he's so good at it. It just really started making sense for me, and I started thinking my shadows is overall simple shapes, and I started just using one light source. So what I'm doing right now is kind of, it's a bit more of a complex light source. All it is really, I'm just, not drawing to the edges for the most part. It's not so complex, but it's more complex than what I did for a while. I just went totally, with one strong light source, and then dealing with that made things much easier for me. And I found I got more drama actually to my work. I was really happy with it. And at Top Cow at the time, we were doing some darker kind of stuff, so it worked for that. I remember when I got to Marvel, I was really thinking, wow, I don't know if it's gonna work for me here, because I had never really drawn. Well, I did Cyberforce, but I was so far removed at the time from drawing superheroes. I was pretty concerned that I just couldn't pull it off, and it was a transition for me for sure. But after a bunch of years of drawing the way that I was, you learn a lot as you go, and so I kind of got there. At some point, I'd like to do, maybe even with Hellboy. I might do a Hellboy with another character. And so I'll do one week and then the other week. I think that'd be fun. I did that for and drawing Spider-Man again. It's Miles Morales, but it's Spider-Man too, drawing that again is kind of making me think about the last time I did it. And I wanted to do that again, and I never got around to. Every time it's one figure. So I think maybe next week we'll do that. I'll have to think of somebody different to add with them. So if you guys have suggestions, let me know. Siddhartha says, David, could you draw... Whoops, I lost it. Hold on. Oh, now I don't know how to get... Oh, you know what? I'm not on the... Okay, hold on. Oh, here we go. Okay. I think it's a different question, but it says, could you show how you draw wings like you drew in the Hawkman commission and maybe draw a winged character next stream? All right, you know what? That's what I'll do. I'll do a winged character. So I'll do Hellboy, and I'll draw him with, actually I did a book. I don't know if any of you would even remember, but I did a book called Ascension years and years ago. So maybe I'll draw the guy from Ascension. That would be a lot of fun. I haven't drawn him in years. Russ Hicks. Hi, Russ. Thank you for coming. Has a $5 super chat and says, any tips for positioning eyes on the head? Never knew I had such a problem with it until I took your Skillshare class. Thanks for the drawovers. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what. Now, it really comes down to placing them properly. You understand that, there's an eye space between your eyes, and then you have your eyes, and then an eye space outside your eyes, and your eyes are basically halfway up your head, pretty much, and your brow is just slightly higher. And once you get all that in, that's like step one. And it's the most important step, but to really make them look like they're sitting in your head, what I recommend is when you draw, until you get comfortable, when you draw your simple head shapes, make sure to actually draw in like a skull. Let me show you. And I did this in the Skillshare video, but I don't know that I really got as clear with it as I really could have. But so I'm going to draw my head shape. Here's, going to be my brow, my eye. And what I'm going to do is draw like I'm looking at a skull. And here's the nose for the skull. I mean, I don't do that, but it's show you what I mean. And so the eye, the skull, it recesses in and then it kind of comes out. And so when you place the eye, you're placing it right into that little pocket there. And so that's why this eye is actually closer to the nose and this eye is further out, and it lines up with the nose like this. But a big portion of that is just the fact that, from the side, your eye has this kind of a shape, and then your actual eye, sits in there. And your nose would come out like this. There's your brow. So I think hopefully that is helpful. Vincent Adams says, I'm 17 years old and drawing is just a hobby that I love, and I would like to get better in anatomy, inking, and these things that professional artists do. Any recommendations? Well, that is a very broad question, but I would say if you have interest in it, How to Draw Comics Marvel Way is a great start. That's a great book to read. The tutorial kind of videos, I've got a whole bunch of them up on the website. Hopefully those are helpful to you. There are other artists that have some great stuff. Robert Marzullo I'd really recommend. George Bridgman's Guide to Life Drawing I'd also really recommend for anatomy. Just getting some good anatomy reference, and you can find that just on Google. You don't even have to pay for it. Just type in arm anatomy diagram, that kind of thing, and you'll find everything you need just doing that. And then, when you're drawing, you need to make sure you need to draw the arm from the inside and the outside and from every angle, and make sure that your anatomy is actually working. And that's really step one. And then, it keeps going from there. And I'm actually going to do a full breakdown of exactly how I recommend you proceed very soon. Hey, Michael Gautran is here. Hi, Michael. It's good to see you here. Thank you so much for coming by. Sheldon Martin says, hey, Dave, with a $5 super chat, which I really appreciate. Thank you. Says, hey, Dave, thanks for popping on. Even though you don't have your co-host, any plans on doing a Halloween themed drawing theme? Right. Also, we miss Meredith. Yeah, I miss Meredith too. It's not the same. It's not the same without her. Yeah, I think actually doing a Halloween, I never think of these kinds of things as this is so new for me to be drawing for an audience like this, especially like on a weekly basis where I'm, I never think of that kind of thing, but I think that's a great idea. And yeah, I'd definitely like to do it. And yeah, I couldn't miss this anyway, even without Meredith. I really think if I would have had a little bit more notice, but I'm not even sure how I would cancel and get that across. And I don't want you guys to be waiting for it. And especially if you, had other plans or whatever, and then just not do it. I don't want to do that. So we're here. Matt Hatton with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, please, please, please draw Ascension. All right. It's a deal. I'm going to draw Ascension. It's Lucian from Ascension. Lucian is his name. Oh, you know what? Also, it is 9 o'clock, which means it's time for Book of the Week. I don't have Meredith here to say, hey, Dave, it's time for Book of the Week. So we're 8 minutes late. So let me just put this aside for just a second and we will get to Book of the Week. And I'm excited about this one, mostly because I couldn't find this book for ages and I finally found it underneath something. So this, let me go to the camera just so I can see that I've actually got it up here. This is my, it's a Punisher book from Jorge Safino, who, to be honest with you, I've actually never read the story. And you can see I've had this book for ages and it's been through some wars. I really love this book. And he does the best faces. Also, I mean, just the way that he's lighting his anatomy between the light portions and the dark portions with that dark, shiny suit is so incredible. And I wish there was more of it in the book. There's some, but not as much as I would like. And I actually bought the book because I loved this figure so much. I thought it looked amazing. And when I opened it, I mean, I was disappointed that there wasn't more of that, but there's so much of this. I mean, look at that face right there. It's just bananas. It's incredible. And you know, the way he's got so much shadow, things almost disappear, but it's so well constructed with shadow. Like he's got a nice rounding. This is all dark here, and it points directly toward, you know, the main guy here who's lit by this guy's flashlight, basically. And he could take that flashlight and shine up that whole wall and everything, but he knows how to just really focus his light. I think that's an absolutely incredible face. I've stolen so many faces from this stuff, and his hands too are just really great. Like, look at that. There's an artist actually. I didn't realize this at first. Actually, I wasn't familiar with Jorge Safino's work at the time. But Aaron Weisenfeld was looking at a lot of Jorge Safino when he did Team 7. If you guys remember that, that was, you know, 94. So it's a while ago, maybe 95 it came out, but yeah, just some great stuff. I love how he's doing these buildings. I think that Sean Gordon Murphy is at least partially influenced by this kind of thing, and you know, I feel like I can kind of see it. I love how he's using white out to get these kinds of brushed out white effects. Something I'd like to do more, and I just don't do enough of. I need to. It's my problem is that I'm a penciler, and I've been a penciler for so long that I pencil like I'm ink like I'm penciling, and it's easy to kind of forget all the things that you can do with ink. I love that face. Anyway, every page in here is really great. But there are some that are like some of these, and it's always kind of a similar face, but admittedly, but I like, that's such a great face. That's such a great face. I've stolen all these. You really could go through my old work and go, okay, there it is. I mean, I try not to totally, but yeah, close enough. And it's incredible how he does this kind of, it's a very complex lighting, and instead of just going totally dark, he's using a real kind of a gridded out or like a rendered pattern. I've wanted to do this for years. I've not been able to pull this off. I've tried a bunch of times, and every time I lose it. I need to try again. And like here again, I love how he's got the shadow there, but then he's actually got it kind of uplit on this side. So it's downlit here and then uplit on this side. And anyway, I could go on about this stuff all day, but yeah, here's some of my favorite faces. I've taken this for Sabretooth before. I love how he did the, it's a shadow from Punisher onto this guy here, and he did a bit of an uplight so you see the bottom of the nose and it still reads. Anyway, just beautiful stuff. Now, as you can see, there's really not much Punisher in here. So that's the one thing about this book. As much as I love it, like all these faces are outrageously good, but yeah, basically no, here we go, a little bit of Punisher. And this face right here, we're talking about Ascension. I used that face, actually I used a bunch, but that face especially was really like my prototype for Lucian from Ascension. So there you go. Anyway. Yeah, this is another one of those books where I could just flip through every single page and go, look at this shot, look at that shot, but I won't do that to you guys. So we'll get back to what we're doing here. Uh-oh. Hold on. All right. So Dan Robinette has a $5 super chat, and he says, Dave, you have reawakened my love of comic art. I was wondering if you would ever draw some creatures such as a dragon for your stream. Now that is a good idea. That would actually be, because you know, I really tend to draw the same few things all the time, and I love drawing creatures. I think that would be actually a great idea. So yeah, thank you for the suggestion. I think it'd be fun just to kind of make something up. You know, and if Meredith was here and able to read the questions a little bit easier than I can, you know, maybe I could take suggestions and incorporate them as I go. That would actually be a blast. Emerson Guerra has a $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, another hi from Brazil. Is there any difference between shading a black suit and a leather suit like white or yellow, or a lighter suit like white or yellow? Yeah, absolutely. It really comes down to your core shadow. You know, the core shadow is going to come if you have your arm lit, you know, from this side and the shadows on this side, then the core shadow will come much higher on something that's dark and go be much smaller on something that's light. And that's the main difference. And also just the size of your folds. Now, the thickness of the material also defines kind of the size of your fold. So it's kind of two different factors that really play into it. It's how dark it is, but also how large the folds are, or how heavy the fabric is. Hey, Jeffrey Niffin has a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for turning me on to Hal Foster. Oh yeah, you are so welcome. Yeah, Jeffrey was on the critique stream that I did with Robert, and he had some really great looking pages and really nicely composed. And I thought the trees needed a little bit of work, and so I mentioned Hal Foster, and so I am so glad that you took a look, and you know, hopefully it really works. I think it will. The Secular Gamer, $5 super chat says, will you ever do something related to Japanese media, aka anime, manga? Do you know like any? Yeah, I absolutely do, and thank you for the super chat. I'm a huge fan of a lot of it. Like Ghost in the Shell, I mean, that's been a big one for me for years, and Akira, obviously. These are older ones that I keep mentioning, but I'm an older guy now. There's one. Oh, Battle Angel Alita. I still have not seen the movie, though. I need to watch it. I was a little afraid to watch it just because I watched the Ghost in the Shell movie, and I didn't hate it. You know what? And I heard it was so bad for so long from so many people that when I watched it, I just didn't really care. And so it was fine. And I actually ended up liking it, you know. But yeah, I'd hate to see Battle Angel Alita done poorly. And I've heard it's good. So now I'm almost more afraid to watch it because now my expectations are up. So we'll see. But yeah, anyway, there are definitely a bunch of other ones. I'm a little less up on some of the newer ones, to be totally honest with you. But I tend to like a bit of a darker, kind of more realistic art. There's I wish I could remember the name of it, but there's an artist on the tip of my tongue. Actually, it's not even. I'm so bad with names, truthfully. But yeah, I've got one that I've been kind of looking at lately. He's got some really great shots. Another one, actually, that I'm a huge fan of is Ippo Boxing. I don't know if that's popular or not or what, but some of the action shots in that are crazy. All right, I think we're getting pretty close to having him all blocked in with shadow. And then it's detail. Well, first it's going to be whiteout just to fix my problems. Schumacher Arts, have you ever used a G Pen? Yeah, I have actually. I've got some still, and they're very, very good. I would definitely recommend them over the tools that I use. The reason I use what I do is I don't have a pot of ink sitting on the desk, and it's rare that I actually sit at a desk. I'm much more likely to just sit on the couch with a lapboard, and that does not work with ink in a bottle. Also, the other thing I don't like about a dip pen is you have to dip them in just far enough to get it on the tip. If you go too high, it makes a mess, and I would constantly dip it too far. I can't see how far I'm dipping it. I think if I did it more, you get a feel for it. I never did, and then I stopped. I've got a drawer full of them, though, so I should get back to it. Also, my pen holder broke. So that kind of stopped me too, and I just have not gotten around to ordering another one. I need to. All right. I'm going to stop that part there. Move on. And before I can really move on, I need to find my whiteout pen. All right. So let me start doing a little bit of cleanup here. Sometimes I feel like this is almost easier than erasing. Especially, and I've showed you guys this before, but this is my Posca. They come in different sizes. This is a really fine tip, and you can get great amount of detail out of it. I can really clean up my lines too. If it gets a little lumpy, I can just kind of go back in and clean it up just like that, which is great. Faithless says, what kind of whiteout pen is it? It's a Uni Posca. I don't know the size, and I can't read it because it's Japanese, but basically there are 3 sizes. I got it in a 3-size pack. I use all 3. This is my detail one though. And there is a link actually in the description. And I found out about these actually not long ago, just in March. Mark Sylvester uses them for his work. So, Dave, are you going to show fan art from the Discord? You know, that is a great idea, Henry. Actually, that is a really great idea. So yeah, I will. That reminds me. I did a cover for Dynamite, a Red Sonja cover, and it's not out yet. He's doing a like an Indiegogo thing for it, I guess. Anyway, and I think the page is up, but you can't order it yet. I think that's how it was when I looked, but I keep meaning to mention it and I keep forgetting. But yeah, if you get a chance, and I don't have a link because yeah, without Meredith here, I kind of did all this myself. It was a bit of a scramble, and I was thinking, what am I going to do? Like, I thought this was going to be a disaster. Not that it hasn't been, but anyway. So yeah, you have to search David Finch Red Sonja or whatever. Sorry about that, but you know, it'll be up soon. And I'm hoping as soon as it's up, I'll be able to actually show you guys the cover on the stream, which would be nice. I was really happy with it. I spent forever on it. I really put a lot of work into it. All right. I think that's going to be about as clean as I need it right now. All right. You know what? There we go. All right. Liam MG says, do you recommend any obscure forgotten artists? I'm sick of copying Toth, I guess it's Toth, Alex Toth in Buscema. Who do you think would be a nicer counter influence to Toth in my art DNA? You know what? I really like Claire Wendling. I would recommend Claire Wendling. Like right now, I would just say it's my opinion. I don't think you could beat that for like a really great. She has sketchbooks. I would show one on here, but there's so much nudity in them, and so I kind of avoided that. But she is outrageously good, and she can do everything from a really cartoony, like animated style to very realistic with great creatures. And she does like these centaurs and you know, like half cat, half people. Anyway, you have to check it out. She also has a book. Actually, I was just talking to Eric Grove, and we were talking about that book. And so I've here. Hang on. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to flip through it here. Okay. So anyway, it's European style art, but she is incredible. This is actually an older book too. She just doesn't do enough this kind of work now, unfortunately. I don't know that she's really put out a book, like a full book in years, but I think this book is incredible. I love her panel choices, but really my favorite thing, and I hate to break it down to something so, you know, when there's so much that's so great in it, but I love the hands, like that hand and that one, you know, and I actually have filled pages just doing studies of the way she draws hands. These are just beautiful hands. So hopefully it's showing up there and you can see it. But yeah, I love this book. Yeah, this is what I would really recommend is Claire Wendling. And the name of the book is, it's on the back. Mine's in French because I got it. Actually, I ordered it online and the copy they had was in French, which I was okay with because I got it for the art. So it's Les Lumières du I'm not going to try and say it, but you know what? Eric actually found it. Eric is our moderator. He found it in English. So if it has a different name in English, maybe Eric can let you know. But yeah, give it a try and find her sketchbooks too. Her sketchbooks are a huge, really great influence, I think. Yeah, and if you want something that doesn't have the, stereotypical American comic art feel, to me, I think that would be a great place to go. Okay, I shouldn't be doing this. Let's go to my other pen. I have a really bad habit of getting the smallest pen that I can find and just noodling tiny, tiny little detail in and spending forever. And I forget sometimes, and next thing you know, it's like 3 hours later, and when I've got this pen that will just give me the thin to thick line that I want. So KHC, David, are you ever going to draw something like a creature superhero, something like Fing Fang Foom or Reptile or something else? KHC, actually, you know what? We were just talking about that. And yeah, I definitely will. I feel like I'm getting more ideas for things to draw that I really like this time than I can remember. Also, I have to do a Death's Head too for Henry Jeremek. So that one's coming too. And I'm going to do it, Henry, just because it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's a bit of an obscure character, and I've never drawn him before, so I'll have to do my thumbnail with somebody else's art. Hey, not that I mind. When like the thumbnail for this one, I thought it was a great rendition. I just, I feel like I'm putting my name on somebody's art when I do that, but I didn't want to say Miles Morales Spider-Man and then just put up a regular Spider-Man. So anyway, yeah, totally lost my train of thought. Where's Meredith when you need her? Oh, I did want to mention, had people asking if I'm going to have the Skillshare up on Udemy. It's the How to Draw Superhero Heads course. I won't, but I am actually going to self-host it. I've already got it up on my website. It's all ready to go. Everything's set. Right now, I'm dealing with just finalizing the website, which, and there was so much to learn. I didn't want to not know how to do it because I can't afford to be helpless with my own site, not be able to update it. So I wanted to learn it myself, which is why things have been so off the rails last couple weeks. But that one, as soon as I can get the site finished, basically I've got to finish my about page and a couple things, and then I've got a million colors. It looks terrible right now, but it's getting there. In another week, I figure I'll have it up, and I will let you guys know. And then you can just order it directly from my site, which I would appreciate, and it will be downloadable. So there's that. All right. Downloadable and no monthly recurring fee. So there's that too. Hokey says, cough, so we can at least have the essence of Meredith here. I think I might have missed something leading up to that, but yeah. Her microphone's set up on the couch, ready to go for her. There's that. Oh, Eric Grove has updated the Discord with the book of the week and Lights of Amalu by Claire Wendling. Thank you, Eric. That's great. And with the title translated. So yeah, thank you. That's great. Pizza Monster Art asks, will the site version of your course also include the critiques the Skillshare version has? Yes, it will. It's going to have discussions. I've got that. Okay, truthfully, I have that set up. I don't know how to use it yet. But we're, you know. I'm losing bitrate here. The audio stream's current bitrate is lower than recommended bitrate. Hopefully you guys are getting this all right and I'm not cutting out. And without Meredith here, I'm basically helpless. But yeah, it's going to have a whole discussion area. And the discussion area will be better than Skillshare. Skillshare was a real nightmare for me because I couldn't actually post images to each person's artwork, and I couldn't post from my iPad. So trying to get that to, I would have to put it on my iPad, do it, mail it to myself. It was this whole process. Now I'm still doing those, but this one will be much more streamlined and I'll be able to respond directly much quicker and easier. So yes, I absolutely will be doing that. And to be honest, I'm kind of hoping on my own website too, I'd like to be able to go a little bit more in depth with the critique. And I've really been thinking about, now see here, I'm just like spitballing in front of you guys, but I've been thinking about doing, because I've got another course planned that I'm kind of working on, and doing a thing where, you know, I will do some drawovers and offer some help, but for like a more extensive kind of help, just a different price point. That's what I'm thinking. Michael Johnson Curry says, then you better have that blog post up with this site. With the site. I will help so many artists. I can't wait to read it. Gotta go. It was great to meet you this weekend. Yeah, you too, Michael. It was great to actually, you know, meet you. I want to say in person, but, you know, face to face at least ish. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was great to be able to see you and talk to you. Whoops, microphone. So yeah, thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully we'll see you again next time, and hopefully we'll see you, you know, for the next portfolio review. And yeah, it's always great to have you here. And I want to say, yeah, Michael's artwork, and he's on the Discord. I've seen him post his stuff, so maybe some of you guys from the Discord have seen his work, but it is incredible. And he's really struggling to find work, which is crazy because, I mean, his work it's publisher ready. It's good work. And, you know, that's one place where it's tough because I want to say, you know, you get to this point and it will happen, guaranteed. You know, sometimes it takes time, and you know, it's just one thing that anything you want to do, you know, you can control what you put in, you can't control what you get out, and it's a really difficult thing to kind of, you know, be reconciled with that. But it's true, and I do believe absolutely 100% that Michael will make it and have a very successful career. He just has very appealing work and draws really great women. And sometimes I wonder if he just has not had his work in front of the right people, you know? And Michael, I gotta say, if I were you, I would show it to Zenoscope, and I would show it to Nick Barucci over at Dynamite. Those are really good options. I was talking to Meredith about it, actually. She wasn't there for that chat, but I really had it on my mind because I thought, wow, you know, the work is so good. Kenny says, why do you draw cast shadows as solid black shapes on people, but fill it in with lines when doing it on the environment, like on stones? Well, I'm adding a lot more texture to stones, for sure. And also, when I'm drawing black shapes on a figure, I'm drawing specific shapes that relate to the underlying anatomy. Whereas when you're drawing stones, it's really much more of a design kind of, keeping it free and keeping it, you want to have some larger shapes and smaller shapes. It's a totally different kind of a process. So that's probably why I'm really my headspace is totally different. I struggled so much with any kind of organic, like rocks or hair or anything like that didn't have a definitive shape when I started. It was a real challenge. And I wish I could say, oh, this is what I did. And you know what? I take it back. There was something I did that overcame it for me. It's like this whole chat is just coming around. I was talking about Aaron Weisenfeld's Team 7. And he did these rocks on a cover for, I think it's actually the trade paperback cover. And I was looking at that and really copying it for, something. This would have been probably 94, 95. And it just kind of clicked for me. And then I found, okay, I feel like I can kind of make that work. And then I started looking at Carlos Pacheco, his Bishop book, which I think was a book of the week here at one point. And my Ascension, I've got actually a painting that Steve Frickow, he's a colorist, did of Ascension up on the wall. I need to do a tour so you can see my actual office at some point. But I copied those from Carlos Pacheco. And then really the final one for me was Mike Mignola did a picture of Wolverine kind of on this rock. It was from Frank Frazetta, the shape of the rock, but it was just simplified in such simple blocked out forms. And it really made it accessible to me. I could understand what he was doing. And then I found when I was looking at Frazetta after that, it made it actually kind of possible for me to break down Frazetta in a way that I couldn't before. So Pete Sponsor Art says, is there a specific artist you would recommend for referencing hair? Sorry if it's been asked before. It has. It's okay though, because not everybody I'm sure has seen it. But my recommendation, I've got two. Now there are. I could say Adam Hughes. Really, look at Adam Hughes. That's a style. I love it. I've taken from it, and it has really worked for me. So I'd recommend that. The ones that I like right now are Jim Chung. Anything from Jim Chung. I think he does absolutely stunning, incredible, beautiful, perfect hair. Steve McNiven is a great choice. And Travis Trest. I find Travis, he's so detailed. Let me switch pens here. He's so detailed that it might be a little less accessible, so you might want to try Jim Chung or Steve McNiven. Dude Power says, will I draw something from Lord of the Rings like Sauron or an orc? Maybe. Yeah, I figure if I'm going to keep doing this, there's going to come a point where I'm going to be drawing, My Little Pony at some point. I have drawn My Little Pony. I did a painting with My Little Pony and the strawberry shortcake on top of her with the sword raised in the air and some Ninja Turtles on it. It was for this art thing in LA. So, I'm not above it. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, let me just put the rest of his detail in, because I will forget. Make sure it all kind of makes sense here. All right. And I'm going to... Mr. Alonzo Washington says, my major influence right now is Adam Hughes. Well, you cannot do better than that. That's for sure. He's a incredible artist, and he's so his fundamentals are so sound that you can look at his work without picking up bad habits, because that's a problem. It's very easy with a lot of artists to, you know, they do some things that you really like, but they also do things that are really strange, and if you do it and you don't think about why they're doing those things, you can end up with some really odd kind of choices. And I've seen artists before, you know, where an artist will do like this really cool pose for a hand or something, but it's difficult to really read exactly how it was done, and then another artist will draw it and it's just really off looking. I've seen that happen. All right, let me get my reference here. Okay, so I'm going to start with black. I'm not totally sure. I was thinking about it. How am I going to do this? I don't know how you would pencil. You know what? I know how I would pencil it. How I would pencil this is I would go fairly light with my shadow black shapes, and then just go darker with these lines so they're visible, and then let the inker do it. The real question is, I don't know how they do that. Like, how, would they... See, there's the questions I never ask inkers. Do they go in and draw ink in all those spaces and have to, or do they, I don't know. Seems like a lot of work. But how I'm going to do this is just draw this in, and then I'll just use whiteout. And we'll see how it works. My line weight's kind of short up here. Art9 says, I don't like the new cover of Justice League, the way he digitally drew it. I haven't seen it. But that's too bad, yeah. I mean, you know, nobody knocks it out of the park every single time, I'll say that. But, you know, I haven't seen it. I might love it. You never know. I remember the first time I talked to somebody that didn't like Simon Bisley's art. And I thought they were like some kind of a space alien. Like, it's not possible. Oh, Cat just showed up. I was wrong. Cat doesn't hate me after all. All right. Anthony G says, David, I think you should go over the suit lines with red. I totally agree. I can't. I was saying it earlier. This black is not actually waterproof, so I'll end up with a real mess if I try and do that. And it's not something I have to worry about normally because I don't really go over it with color. But if I would have thought of that before we started, I would have filled my other brush. And yeah, it would have been very easy to make it red, so it's too bad. I still have my, what did I draw last week? Magic. I still haven't finished that, to be totally honest. I said, oh, after the stream, I'm going to get this done. It's exactly how it was when I went to bed right after the stream last time. So, yeah. Busy week. Okay, we're almost done with his webs. And now, find my cap. Start going in with whiteout. And the nice thing is with this whiteout, it's really easy to draw on top of because it's like a paint. I know I say this a bunch, I've said this a few times, but yeah. I never had whiteout that was so good to just draw over. So if it's a little thick, which it is, I can just go in and refine it very easily. But for now, I can get it, blocked in anyway. That goes the other way. Open this up. So I'm going to need to connect all those. So many times it's like this with me for characters where it's like drawing the character and then having to do corrections because of these sorts of costumes, where it's just easier for me to do it this way than for me to... I think if I was doing this digitally, it'd be very easy. But on paper, it's a bit more of a challenge for sure. And that connects just like that. Mighty R says, I'm using Jelly Roll for now. I'll get Posca soon. Yeah, Jelly Roll is exactly what I was using. So definitely recommend the Poscas. And, I'm not being paid by Posca. For the record, I don't know if anybody was thinking I was being paid by Posca, but I am not. Hollow Man Jinboo has a $5 super chat. He says, I have the exact same whiteout. It does not do that for me, just grays out. Also, please draw a Ghost Rider one of these Mondays. You know what? This grays out for me too. What I do is, first of all, you have to shake it. It's got a ball in there, which you can hear. And it comes out better if you shake it just a little bit. But also, if that happens, like right now, it's actually working really well for me. If it wasn't, which happens more often than not, to be honest, I just have to do 2 layers. So you just wait for it to dry, just give it out another layer and it'll be fine. Yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect solution. All right, I'm gonna give it just a second. Oh, also, please draw Ghost Rider one of these Mondays. Yeah, absolutely. Ghost Rider would be a great choice with Hellboy, but we're already going to do Lucian from Ascension, so I'll have to do it a different time. So is everything on Skillshare going to be on the site? Does that mean I should cancel my Skillshare free trial so I don't pay $100, says the Art Jedi? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you've got a trial for it, yeah, don't, because future ones I'm actually going to be posting to my site too. Skillshare was really much more, this whole thing has been I keep going back. This whole thing has been a real learning experience for me. And it's just too much to try and get everything on a site and get everything all established all at once. So I got the first one up on Skillshare. I was really thinking maybe I'd continue with that and do Gumroad. And, it's kind of a figuring out what works and what doesn't. And yeah, I think just self-hosting is the best strategy for me. Causing desert. How long have you been drawing? I'm still in high school, but I want to become a pro illustrator. I've been drawing for about 3 years, truly 2 years though, and just started drawing on an iPad. Well, it took me, I started drawing when I was 20, drawing, like seriously drawing. I drew a little bit. I didn't really draw that much,
but I find most artists seem to kind of mature and develop around that age. Well, older even, more like 22, which seemed to be like the average age of people that were starting at Top Cat when I got there. So you've got time now. That is not to say if you're older than that you're too late or it can't happen or anything like that. It is just to say that for someone that started young, that it seems like just mentally, that's around the age where your artistic brain starts to mature. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's like an offensive thing to say. I don't think so, though. I do think it's true. You have to give yourself some time, And I've seen, and I will give this warning because I have seen this before, very young artists that are very, very talented and like unusually talented for their age. And it just does not develop into anything as they get older. And the reason for that is people are so amazed when you can do something like that when you're young. It's so unusual that you get a lot of praise and you think, okay, I made it, that's great, I'm a good artist, and development just stops. And I've seen that happen before. So for any of you that are young artists, do not let that happen to you. When you're young, you get praised on a different level than when you're old. It's a tougher game, and you need to be prepared for that. David Van Dyke says, when I worked for Jonathan Glapian, we would either reverse ink stuff like that, or we would save it until the end and reverse ink it in Photoshop and put those in. There you go. See? Jonathan Glapian knows what he's doing. That makes a lot of sense. Especially, you're meeting a deadline, and things like that just need to get done. Yeah.
When you turn off my weapons lights?
Yeah.
You actually turned off the bathroom lights.
Oh no, did I?
Yes.
Sorry.
Can you help me to find out which one it is?
Sure. I'll be right back.
I found out pretty quickly.
All right. Oh. Daniel Castelli has a $5 super chat. He says, what other artists and comics have been as consistent as you for as long as you have? I can't think of any. Oh, geez, I can think of a lot. Thank you for that. But yeah, there are a bunch. Like Tony Daniel has been around longer than me. Oh, see, I'm the worst with names. Now this is terrible because I won't be able to think of anybody, even though there's a long list. Greg Capullo. I don't think anybody's more consistent than Greg Capullo. John Romita Jr. has been around for ages. There's a long list of very, very good artists that have been working consistently and staying out there for years. So don't take me not coming up with names off the top of my head as I'm just bad with names. Yeah, Russ Hicks says Mark Bagley. See, there you go, Mark Bagley. There's another one. Mark Bagley is so nice. I think I said this before, but I was looking at his Spider-Man so much when I was doing Ultimate X-Men that I did a page with Spider-Man, and the licensing people at the time were using his Spider-Man for all of their, like, that was the prototype Spider-Man basically they were using for all their packaging, and they used mine for something, and they actually sent the original it was a lunchbox. They sent it to Mark Bagley because they always sent him a copy of whatever they made. And so his wife actually mailed it, but yeah, it was very nice of him to do that. I think he could have been bitter that I'm, so influenced by his Spider-Man, but he's a very good, gracious guy. Really have a mess. I can see why Jonathan Glapian does this on the computer. It's a good call. Jim Lee, Phil Patton says, yeah, absolutely. FM Vega says, is Mark Silvestri still working in the field? Yeah, he is, definitely. But, he's also involved in a lot of other things, too. He's got Top Cow, the company, and he's been doing a lot of producing. Stuff that you don't necessarily see, but he's been involved in some movie projects and that kind of thing, and that stuff takes up some of his time, too. He has a Batman story he's been working on for years, and I bugging him, like, when, you can't tease that and then nobody gets to see it. So I know it's coming, but he's taking his time with it for sure. And he's worked hard for a long time, and I think he's working at his pace now, which I can certainly respect. Daniel Costelli says, last time Bagley or Lee did a monthly title, yeah, I don't know. You know what though? I mean, I would judge, but I haven't done a monthly title since 2016. So there you go. And I have serious reservations about going back. Henry says, Dave, do you have any original art from any of your favorite artists? Simon Bisley, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, John Buscema. I have some original art from Simon Bisley. I got a sketch that he did for me at a convention, and a tiny little painting. I've got a page of comic art, actually. It's up on my wall, just over here. Again, I need to show you guys my studio sometime. From Mark Silvestri. I don't have any Jim Lee art, though. So one of these days, it's on my list. Oh, and John Buscema, I've got 2 splash pages. One from Thor, and the other one from Wolverine. Isaac, you're a big kid. You can handle it, and you're going to need to. I'll be up fairly soon. Off you go, kiddo. I'll see you in a bit. Something sketchy says, yes, show us your studio. Professor S says studio tour. Yeah, for sure. I'd like to do that. I had a feeling it was going to go this way, and the final cleanup of this picture was going to be 90% of the work, and it definitely kind of is. For sure. But, I'm able to go in here and really clean up all my whiteout lines and not have a bloppy mess, which I would have had with the other whiteout. I wouldn't even have wanted to do this. I think I would have probably balked at drawing. Certainly I would have balked at drawing Miles Morales on a live stream, just because I wouldn't know how to get this worked in effectively. But the whiteout, at least I can do it. It's not going to be as clean as I'd really like, but it's not going to be terrible, I think. Random question, says Anthony Gee. But out of curiosity, were you scheduled for Emerald City Comic Con this year before the world fell apart. I think that I was, yeah. I think so. I, generally speaking, I never know what I've got. Meredith she's got the schedule. And I just go where they tell me. Henry Jeremick says, what issue of Thor do I have now? I don't know offhand. It says it on there. And I got a Wolverine page because it was actually some of the first work that I looked at when I first got into comics was I liked Wolverine. You know, he was my favorite character at the time. And so I got Wolverine #1, you know, and I thought, wow, Wolverine #1. Like, I would have thought that book would be, you know, from like the 30s. It really wasn't that old, you know. Anyway, so the art that I got isn't from #1, but it was from, I can't remember exactly, but 20 or 30 something. It was later on, but I mean, I had that issue too, so it was great. And actually, I just got Chris Claremont to sign all of my Wolverine comics, which is such a fanboy thing to do, I'm sure. And yeah, I was like, you know, could I get away with it? But he was so nice about it, so he did it, which was great. I still have them. Like, I want to at least frame one of them and put it up. I think that'd be nice. Robert Jensen says, who's your favorite comic book artist? When I wanted to get into comics, it was Mark Silvestri. 100%. I got Jim Lee's X-Men #1, and I loved it. I mean, I loved it. But he was the first artist that I really looked at when I wanted to get into comics. It was actually before I wanted to get in. My sister read comics, and I never did that much, but I never gave him a chance, which is crazy. The minute I started actually looking at comics, I realized, wow, this is something that I think I could do, and you know, I loved it. But anyway, it was John Byrne, and I didn't actually start drawing when I saw that, just because his art was so clean and perfect with Terry Austin inking that it just didn't seem possible. I just loved it. Marshall has a $2.99 super chat. It says, Marshall Hinson here. Thanks for the critique. Well, thank you for coming by. It's great to have you here. Thanks for coming by the live stream. It was a pleasure to have you on the critique. Thank you for showing your work. It was looking great. And it was finding Mark Silvestri's work that really made me go, wow, I want to do this. It was looser, and I thought it seemed more approachable to me. I hate how this is looking on his eye. Let me just get rid of it. And so, yeah, when I saw Mark's work, that's what really made me start drawing. And Jim Lee, yeah, it was similar to John Byrne in the sense that it was just so clean and perfect. I just couldn't imagine doing it. I didn't realize at the time Mark was being inked by Dan Green. He was a brush inker and a phenomenal inker, but it's a bit of a looser kind of a style. And I, being young and not knowing anything about art, took that as being, you know, easier, and that was not the case at all. But it just seemed more approachable to me. I remember telling Mark that, and he was he's fine. He's the nicest guy in the world, so you know, he wasn't terrible, but I don't think he was thrilled that I said that. Some things, you know, you meet your idol, or I mean, I worked for him for years, so we got over it, but you meet somebody and what you say just doesn't really come out right. For instance, I just want to say, I met Gary Frank one time, and I love his stuff. I think he's such a great guy, and I know Jay Fabok has talked to him a bunch, and you know, anyway, I met him one time, and he was actually working on Kin at the time, which is an Image comic this is a long time ago now, and I loved his Kin comic, and we were assigned to get together for something. Anyway, and I said, yeah, I love your work. I love your stuff and I totally blanked out, which I do.
and couldn't remember. And like he was fine, but yeah, I think he thought, okay, well, you know, I'm just like full of it, and I'm anyway. That bugs me still, and I have not met him. And what would I do? Say, hey, you know, I don't know. So yeah. All right, hang on. Gavin Jenkins as a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. You inspire me to work harder at my art every day, and you're the reason I found so much, or I found my passion. Thank you so much. That is so great, Gavin. Please stick with it, and you know, keep drawing, and keep drawing when your passion for it leaves you, because it will come back. Just bear that in mind. It won't stay forever. You'll be passionate about it, you'll grow, and then you're going to hit a bit of a wall. Happens to every artist, where it just, you know, growing gets a little more difficult and you start fighting it a little bit. And don't let that stop you. When it comes, you really need to embrace it, because when you get past it, that is when you really grow. Those are always, I almost feel like I want to say to an artist that gets in that position, be glad you're there, because that really is always the precursor for like a major growth. You're not just gonna, you know, get better drawing this or get better drawing that. You're really on. It might take you 6 months, it might take you a month, it might come tomorrow, but that's when you really start to grow, when you really start fighting with it. And you're fighting with it because you're taking in so much that it's tough to reconcile it all. And then once you do, that's when you really jump ahead. And sorry, I had a, let's see here. Oh, Greg L, the $2 super chat. Thank you, Greg. I don't recall IDR, so I don't recall, I think. If you said, who's your favorite hero character? Okay, well, Wolverine. And Wolverine was my favorite getting in. And then I really got into Image Comics. And so my favorite was Ripclaw, because that was, you know, Mark Silvestri's. It was a top cow, basically. He's very similar to Wolverine in a lot of ways. So I was a huge fan of Ripclaw. And I always loved Batman. Really, starting out, I loved all the X-Men. I was totally into X-Men. And then, yeah, a little later on, I really got into Batman. I was not a Moon Knight fan. Not that I was against Moon Knight. I just wasn't familiar when I started Moon Knight. And I was talking to Marvel at the time, and I had a choice of a couple of different projects. And they mentioned Moon Knight. They said they had a great script. And so I read the script, and I thought, wow, like I loved it. It was really action oriented, and it was just very dark. And anyway, so I did it because I was under contract with Marvel. I didn't want to leave. I love Marvel. They're a great company. I love DC too now. I mean, I'd been there for years. Anyway, yeah, that made me a huge fan of Moon Knight. But before that, I just wasn't familiar with him. Aside from Stephen Platt's version, you know. So yeah, basically, long story short, Batman, Moon Knight, and Wolverine. There you go. As a long answer. This is what happens when Meredith's not here. Oh, you know what? This is the other thing that happens. I just start getting finicky. You can see how this kind of thing can go from like a 2-hour sketch to, you know, a full day job very, very quickly. It doesn't take much extra work and, you know, just extra care on the detail for that to happen. Mark F. Who's didn't says, "Don't let that stop you, David. I, for one, love all the extra insight." Well, thank you. Yeah, and no, there's nothing wrong with getting to the point.
I'm just not very good at that, you know. Especially when I'm because right now I really am talking and basically not thinking at all, kind of thinking about the picture, and so yeah, it's easy just to drone on like a robot. I think I can fix this up now. Inkart says, David, I wanted to know, how would you go about loosening up when drawing? No matter what I do, my gesture drawing still feels stiff. There's a book that I've seen. It's called, and I might actually still have it. Let's see. Okay, well, oh wait. No, that's not it. I've got so many books. There was a time I had them all organized, not now, but there's I think it's called Force Drawing, and it's a good book. I found it was a bit of a mixed bag for me. You know, I didn't think it was perfect for me, but I still got a lot out of it, and that's all I ever asked from a book. And he was really great at describing lines of action. So, you know, when you're drawing a character, you know, like you've got your, let me make sure that I'm in the shot here. You've got your character punching. I'm going to start with a hand, which is ridiculous to do, but whatever. And here's his arm, and it keeps going. And I'm going to draw a line all the way through. And so if I draw his body here, I hope I'm not out of the camera. And I'm going to draw, here's his pelvis. I'm going to draw his leg all the way through. And then the other leg I could draw, you know, coming up like this. I'm going to make sure to accentuate the body out so that the whole thing is pushing out to that hand. Here's his head. And then I'll put the other hand here, and I want the other hand to kind of almost pull back from it. Like it's like an opposite reaction. And so thinking about your characters like this with strong lines, everything pushing up into the hand like this, and so many even natural sorts of poses where it's, you know, it's not like a major action kind of a pose, can really benefit from that kind of thing. And that can really help make your figures more dynamic, just really thinking in terms of lines when you're drawing. So that character's everything, every part of them is pushing its force up in through that hand and out that way. And that book was good that way, I thought. Thank you so much, Rafa. Something sketchy says, eat a donut every line I hatch. Yeah. That'd be a lot of donuts. I don't know how to stop until it's at least 100,000 lines too many. So. So I'm just going to continue out through the stomach here. It's actually going to get fairly quick from here. So this shouldn't take too much longer. And it's 10:14, so we're kind of winding down, I think. And I'd probably be better off to go to my thicker pen, but I'm actually, to be honest, I'm feeling very loose, like very, I don't have a very steady hand tonight for whatever reason. It doesn't feel that way, so I'm staying with my thinner pen because I can get just a little more control. All right, I say that, now I'm going to switch. All right. You can see how much quicker this pen is because I can get a bit of a thick to thin. It gives me a blunter thin end of the line. I can't get the same level of, not that those are so perfect anyway. Look at this, now I'm getting thinner with this. Sometimes I never know. By the way, I've kind of gotten quiet, but that's because my chat totally stopped updating all of a sudden. My last question was, or my last comment was, eat a donut every time I hatch, and then boom, dead. So I'm kind of on my own right now. Oh yeah, I'm not seeing your comments if you're commenting. Unless everybody just went quiet. So I think what we're going to do is just move through the end of this. Get the last rendering on his leg here. I have a strong suspicion right now. Hopefully you guys are still here, but I've lost connection because I'm not seeing any chat at all. So, I mean, I'm going to finish this and I'll try and keep talking, but yeah, on my own, I run out of things to say pretty quick. So it's going to get interesting, or not interesting. Go some longer thin lines through here. A lot of times if I feel like rendering looks a little too blunt, like in here it's just looking a little bit harsh, just rendering thinly across it can kind of help, which I know it's very much the way I end up drawing. When I don't like how something looks, I end up putting more lines on it instead of just fixing it. But it works mostly. All right, I think we're, oh, you know what? We still have this arm. Get this one in here. I should have been using this pen the whole time. So next time you see me use this, the smaller pen, just, you know, say it in the chat. a little bit more line weight and detail to. I got this pretty good. Actually, the first time was not bad. So I'm gonna switch my pen to the smaller one. Just refine my detail just a little bit. And that's going to be it. I think we're done. And yeah, the chat is still dead. So I have a feeling I'm kind of on my own right now. But okay, I'm going to sign it. I'll clean this up just a little bit. All right. And still still no chat. So hopefully some of you are still there. I really don't know. It's been an interesting night. No Meredith. My chat kind of cut out for the end. So things got a little bit quiet. Oh, yeah, shoot. A little bit more. Okay, there. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I never had drawn Miles Morales before, so it was a nice treat drawing a different sort of Spider-Man, different detail with the trying to get the white lines into the black area was a bit of a challenge for me using ink. I think it was actually easier than with a pencil. Anyway, I'm going to ramble here. So I'm just going to say thank you all very, very much for watching again. We will see you next Monday for the next live stream. Meredith will be back, and I'll have my next video out tomorrow. But if not tomorrow, the next... Hopefully tomorrow. I don't see why not. But anyway, it's going to be on drawing female torsos. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I thought, you know, I spent years really struggling with that. And so, you know, I'm watching all the line dropping down. I have a feeling that this is not... Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Thank you again very, very much. We will see you guys next time. All right, have a good night.